Broadcast, internet streaming, or other use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the written consent of LSU SP, Outfront Sports, or the University is prohibited. The LSU Sports Radio Network is a division of LSU SP and Outfront Sports.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air.
Presented by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life.
It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Now, here's Charles Hannegriff and T-Bob Hebert.
A historic and abysmal performance on the plains of Auburn, Alabama today for the LSU Tigers as they fall 48-11 and drop their record on the season to 2-3 heading into the bye week. Good evening, everybody. I'm Charles Hannegriff. T-Bob Hebert has the night off. Nice timing. They say in this series that you may have at any opportunity to see something that you've never seen before. And certainly over the life of this rivalry between these pair of Tigers, we have certainly seen our fair share of bizarre things. Today, we saw something that we have never seen before in this series. We saw a defeat by 37 points, the largest margin of victory ever for the Tigers of Auburn over the Tigers of LSU. We've never seen LSU be beaten as badly as they were in this series. In fact, we've very rarely seen LSU be beaten this badly ever. You have to go back nearly a quarter of a century to 1996, an afternoon when I was on the field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium to watch a Heisman Trophy winner in Danny Werfel carve up LSU to the tune of 56-13. That team would go on to win the national championship. Auburn will not. It's very rare that we can get onto a postgame show, something that is designed for us to focus on certain portions of the game, certain plays, certain trends, certain statistics, and say, that was important, that was good, that was bad. This is where things changed. This was a momentum play. This was a blown call. But it almost always involves some kind of balance. This team did this well. This team did this poorly. This is how the outcome was affected because of this. Friends and neighbors, we got none of that tonight. Every single thing that happened in this football game was good for Auburn and bad for LSU. There was not a single solitary thing that LSU did well today. Not one. They couldn't throw it. They couldn't run it. They couldn't stop the throw. They couldn't stop the run. I would say there were a couple of nice special teams play, except Trey Palmer tripped over the kicker. There was no pressure by the defense. There was mass confusion. There was bad play at the end of the first half. There was bad play at the beginning of the second half. There was bad play from start to finish. Everything that LSU may have corrected in the week going from 2 weeks, actually, going from the Missouri loss to the South Carolina win quickly went out the window. And this is not a great Auburn team. In fact, this is an Auburn team that could have lost to Kentucky, that should have lost to Ole Miss, and should have lost to Arkansas. This is an Auburn team that did lose to South Carolina, a team that LSU beat handily a week ago in Tiger Stadium. There was no evidence that that team even made the trip to Auburn, Alabama. Looking to limit the explosive plays, LSU gave up passes of 16, 18, 23, 28, 38, and 91 yards. Looking to stop big plays on the ground, they gave up runs of 21 and 26. Bo Nix, the highly erratic quarterback for Auburn, who's certainly ridden a roller coaster since his beginning as an Auburn quarterback at the start of last season, had one of his biggest days. He threw for 300 yards. He ran for 81. He threw 3 touchdown passes. He ran one in, and he did not throw an interception. And for most of the day, if you had just gotten here, looked like a modern-day version of Roger Staubach. LSU's quarterbacks had their problems, although I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about Max Johnson. The kid's got some talent, but everything that he did in this game was done where the issue had long since been decided. TJ Finley, who was dynamic in his debut a week ago against South Carolina, turned the ball over 3 times, once on a bad overthrow late in the first half, another on a sack fumble turned into a scoop and score, and another interception that was batted at the line of scrimmage. LSU's rushing attack, which has been erratic at best, but was good a week ago, could never get anywhere. They averaged a pathetic 1.2 yards on the ground per carry. Auburn, on the other hand, was able to rush it for nearly 5 yards a carry, and I think if you take some of the garbage time stats out, it would have been over that. The principles, the ones that really mattered, the carries that were when this game was in doubt, Bo Nix averaged 7.5 yards per carry. Tank Bigsby, 4.7, scored 2 touchdowns, and Eli Stove averaged 7 yards on his 3 carries. Those were the important things. LSU, as we had suggested, put Derek Stingley on Seth Williams for most of the night, and one of the lone good plays was made when Stingley stripped Williams on his way into the end zone. That play just delayed the inevitable, but it was a good play, I guess. There'll be precious few of them to pick from. We like to talk about why things happen and what LSU can do to correct them. And the most common thing is to change personnel. Frankly, that's not an option. Halfway through the season and with a bye week coming, there would be changes, but what changes are there to make? They've played all 3 quarterbacks. They've played all the running backs. They've played all the wide receivers. They're down to 1 backup offensive lineman that they can really count on. They've played all the defensive linemen that haven't quit the team. They played all the linebackers. They played pretty much all of the defensive backs. We saw Jordan Tolles today. That was a guy that some people had asked, well, what about him? Well, he got in the game and watched Anthony Schwartz go right by him. I ain't got no solutions. Personnel changes, again, feel free to suggest them because I don't have any. An attitude change would be very much in order. And I know you're going to talk about coaching changes, but let's be realistic. It's Halloween. Of course it's Halloween. Driving in here, I saw the full moon over Tiger Stadium. It seemed pretty appropriate because it was almost orange. This one was ugly. There ain't no way to spin it. There ain't no way to sugarcoat it. There ain't no way to apologize for it. There was no good that came out of this football game. One of the worst in the history of LSU football. Take your phone calls. 499-9898 is the number. We are on YouTube. You can send your questions in there in the Bayou Ford chat. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
At GMFS Mortgage, thanks to you, we've been changing lives for over 21 years. So far this year, that includes providing thousands of meals for the homeless, donating and helping raise $125,000 for the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, feeding hundreds of police officers during the stay-at-home order, and feeding local nursing homes. So if you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, choose a local lender that's changing lives in our community. Choose GMFS Mortgage today.
GMFS. Hey, Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day. Rough one for LSU. 48-11. That's the understatement of the day. After the game, Coach O.
Very disappointing. Give credit to Auburn. They came ready to play. The turnovers really hurt us. Obviously, defense was playing strong at the beginning. The line of scrimmage, they had 206 yards. We had 32 yards rushing. Too much pressure on the quarterback. We did not play very well, and Auburn played their best game.
When you get a beating this bad, you can almost always send it back to two things. Play the line of scrimmage and turnovers. He just highlighted both of them, or low-lighted them. As it were, that was certainly the case today. Let's go to phone lines. 499-9898 is the number. Jackson is in New Orleans. Jackson, welcome into the show.
Charlie, I was always a really big fan of the TV show Frasier, but the one thing that I never really understood about that show was why anyone would call the radio for therapy until today. Until today. I understand it now.
Welcome into my office.
I'm 39 years old. I've seen a lot of really, really great LSU football, and I've been very blessed. I was trying to kind of place this loss kind of in my sort of experience and kind of where it lands. I mean, the two games that I really thought of were first the 2014 Auburn game, which is the Brandon Harris game. I believe we lost that one 41-7, 42-7, same stadium, same team. The other one was the 1993 Florida game, which I think was 58-3. That was very early, one of my earlier games as an LSU fan, which wasn't a great introduction. The big difference between the two, I think, was sort of hope. You know, in 2014, I still sort of felt some hope for the program, at least in the short to medium term future. Les Miles had done a really great job at that point. We had brought in a lot of new players. We obviously had a new quarterback and things like that. The 1993 Florida game, I had absolutely no hope whatsoever. Nor obviously I was young, but nobody around me who was older had any hope either. This felt more like a Curly Holman type game to me, even though there is some comparison to the 2014 Auburn game in terms of our youth. I'm just kind of curious from your perspective of those two, kind of which one this feels more like, or if I'm off base on both.
No, look, one thing you're right about is that hope has left the building, took faith and charity with her, okay? those games that you're talking about, the 96 team was, or let me go to one that we were bringing up earlier, which was the 96 game, where they lose that game by 43 points. That was Steve Spurrier's best team. Right? That was his national championship team. He had the Heisman Trophy winner on the other side. That LSU team won 10 games. They were just outclassed that day by that team. I think you can kind of live with that. If you run into one of these historic teams, okay, I don't think that there are teams like Texas A&M last year. Okay, they ran into LSU's best team. They got beat by 43 points, and you go, oh, man, it was Burrow and Chase and Jefferson and all those guys on the other side. So I take that one and throw it out the window because that was actually a pretty good LSU team, but they were just outclassed that day. The 93 game, LSU was an awful football program at the time. They weren't just a bad team. They were a bad program. They had a bad coach. They had a bad athletic director. It was just awful. And Spurrier had it rolling. It wasn't his best team, but it was a really good team. So I kind of throw that one out. 14 probably comes the closest because there was hope for that team. They sent in a quarterback that was outmatched that day. So you kind of looked at it as a one-off. Okay, Brandon Harris wasn't supposed to be starting at that point in his career, and he had to. Same thing today for T.J. Finley. Problem is that if Finley goes out and throws for 250 yards and maybe only turns the ball over once, they're still getting drilled. They still can't run the football. They still can't stop the run. They still can't play defense in the secondary. This one's – I'm not ready to call it the worst loss ever. I'm not prone to hyperbole, especially 90 minutes after the game. But it's up there, man. By the time I get here Monday, let me think about it a little bit. Let it bake a little bit. May very well be there on that one. John is in Metairie. John, welcome into the show. John, go ahead.
Hey, yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. One of the things that when I look at this team and I look at this performance, obviously this is very disappointing. With a freshman quarterback, kind of adds some doubt to our success. But when we look at what we had to deal with the graduation, with the opt-out, and what historically we've seen from teams that have lost players, even in the 11 junior-type transfer years from Les Miles, this is a reset of a team, although very talented, is having to adapt to not only a new defensive staff, but also a new defensive scheme. Now, my question is, how much does that matter when it comes to the outcome of this game? Because we knew we would take a downturn, but when you look at this team, how much does it matter when we had so many? I would say it would almost be an SEC record loss of contribution to a team.
John, let me stop you right there, okay? Because I know where you're going with this, and so I got the question. LSU is not 37 points talent-wise poorer than Auburn. They're not. Did they lose a lot from last year? Yes. Did they have turnover in the coaching staff? Yes. Was it at record levels? Pretty much. They're not 37 points worse than Auburn. They're just not. And it shouldn't be. There is never a set of circumstances where LSU is supposed to be 37 points worse than Auburn. Not for any reason. None. Their talent level is down. I get that. But their execution of what the coaching staff is asking them to do is non-existent. You have effort problems. You have talent problems. You have schematic problems. What do you got on a spaceship that's good right now? Very little. Tell me one thing other than the two specialists who are actually pretty good kickers that you got on the spaceship that's good right now. What works? No, what can you go into a game and say, man, no matter what, I know that'll work. And I don't mean individual players. I know Derek Stingley and Terrace Marshall are great talents. I mean, can you run the ball? No. Can you stop the run? No. Can you throw the ball? No. Can you stop the pass? No. Are you going to be solid on special teams? Maybe. But there is not one given on this team. Not a one. And that's hard to wrap your hands around 5 games into the season after you won the national championship. Laura is in Louisiana. Gives us a lot to pick from. Laura, good afternoon. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, Charlie. from South Louisiana down here, and basically I've been a Tiger fan for over 40 years. My perspective on this game right here is, yes, we won a national championship, but number one, we have seniority who decided not to stay with this team and cop out when the going got tough. And yes, we have young kids, but I also blame leadership as far as coaches. When you're putting in a scheme and you don't keep it simple for transition process, we have big problems. And you can see defensively, defensive line, and, you know, we hoped tonight that the offense would have carried us, but we couldn't. And I don't place the blame on young players. I place the blame on leadership right here. They have to step up and hold these players accountable. What's really concerning me is recruiting at this point in time. If we don't recruit and have players that's going to come in to continue and fill, we're going to have years of losing. I was hoping without having a season right here with all SEC games, we could have broke out 5-5. But it's not looking like we might win more than 3 games this season unless we have major changes and adjustments on this team.
Thank you, Laura. I agree with just about everything you said, and the rest of the season includes 3 teams that are currently in the top 10, so it's not going to get any easier. And Alabama's going to come in here with an axe to grind in 2 weeks and bury it right between their shoulder blades. But the one thing I would disagree with you about is the recruiting part of it. You didn't actually criticize. You just said you were concerned about it. This is still a very, very good class. In fact, the best thing that happened to LSU all day today was that Sage Ryan committed to LSU over Alabama at noon today in Lafayette. He is one of the top 2 players in Louisiana. Some people have him 1, some people have him 2. He's at a position of extreme need right now at safety. So I would say that I agree with everything you said, just the part about recruiting. I think they're still in pretty good shape there. Got to finish strong. There's some key guys left on their board. 499-9898 is the number to call. We'll take a break, be back with more. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not 1 but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
The winner is the dog with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Do you have or have you had COVID-19? Antibody screening or rapid molecular testing can tell you. Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours offers both with results from molecular
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Auburn wins it 48-11. 499-9898 is the number to call. Ty is in St. Gabriel. Ty, welcome into the show.
Well, thank you. I haven't heard anybody mentioning this. I think there's a large elephant in the room in that there probably are internal problems on the team, and there's a coaching disconnect because on defense, especially because they're not improving over the many weeks we've seen them. And so, given the fact that we've recruited well over the past few years, since Ogeron and Miles, it seems to me the talent hasn't dropped off that much. I think it's pretty obvious. And so it looks like there are things going on that we don't know about because they're not playing. And so I think it's going to become obvious. There's just no way that they should be this far down.
You suggesting that? Are you suggesting they're not playing hard because they have a disconnect with the coach?
Yes.
Okay, and you're not the first person to say that. Here's my response to that. And listen, I'm not in that locker room. I'm not on that practice field. I don't know. For all I know, they all hate each other. I really got no idea. But I do know that every player that goes on that field has professional aspirations, every single one of them. And a lot of them are going to play professional football. And a lot of them, in fact, I would suggest to you pretty much all of them, with the possible exception of Stingley, have their draft status being evaluated every single week. So even if they did hate each other, even if they did hate the coach, and I'm not suggesting that it is, maybe it is, and I'm not out there, every one of them is playing for money every time they go out there. So I don't know anybody that is angry enough at somebody else to go out there and say, I'll show him, I'll dog it, knowing it's going to cost you thousands, potentially millions of dollars. Now, maybe they're not thinking it through that far. It's possible. But I do know that every single one of those guys thinks they're going to play professional football, and a lot of them are right. And a lot of them are costing themselves money every time they go out there. So maybe you're right. I don't know. Larry is in Lafayette. Larry, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie. Well, we got treated at 12 o'clock today and tricked at 2:30. But thank goodness for Sage Ryan today, because I told somebody today after he announced for LSU, I said, I don't know what's going to happen at 2:30. I said, but that kid saved the day. But Charlie, speaking of recruiting, yeah, it's a good class. It's ranked high. Most probably going to get another one tomorrow, the kid from St. Thomas More, the wide receiver. But our problem lies in the trenches. It's pretty obvious. We need some more bodies. And I look at this class, Charlie, and, if the kid from St. Thomas More falls our way tomorrow, and let's say Brian Thomas wants to come, another wide receiver, they'll probably take him, which would leave about 3 spots left in this class. Charlie, we've got 2 kids in this class so far that are committed that weigh over 250 pounds. Just 2. And so I went and looked at Alabama's class. They're always the measuring stick. They've got 8 kids, big kids, and they're not finished. Are you concerned about that? I'm going to hang up and listen.
Yeah, every recruiting class, I never feel like they have enough linemen. I mean, it's one of those things like left-handed pitchers. If you had 4, I'd want 5. So those 3 spots in the class better be Tristan Lee, Mason Smith, and Corey Foreman. If those three are your last three, then it looks a lot better. But yeah, if you end up with that few line, there's a couple of number absolutes in recruiting that you try to adhere to, and it's very easy for me to sit here and say it, and it's not always easy to do it. I don't think you should ever go a class without recruiting a quarterback, but I don't think you should ever recruit two. And like I said, it's easy to say that because if you get none, you have a hole in your depth chart, and if you get two, one of them's going to transfer. It's 1 and 1 only. I don't think you should ever go a class without at least 4 offensive linemen and 4 defensive linemen. And really, my offensive line number is really closer to 5, but I could live with 4 because over a 5-year period, you end up with attrition and stuff. You should end up with 3 full offensive lines on your depth chart. But again, it's very easy for me to say that and very difficult sometimes to do. Sometimes you don't have those players in state available to you, and when you go out of state, that becomes a much more difficult thing. But if you're asking me, am I concerned about that? The answer is yes. Patrick in Dutchtown is next. Patrick, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie, I appreciate it. A couple philosophy questions, one on each side of the football. Canada ran his base offense out of the jet sweep, and not that we have to base the offense out of the jet sweep, but we have not seen the jet sweep since he left. And I was wondering if Old said, nope, we're not doing that. I got rid of Canada. We never run a jet sweep again. And then on the defensive side, he threw Aranda under the bus, and he's like, nope, I'm never running the 3-man front again. It seems like that would help us with adjustments and being able to align it so much easier out of the 3-4 than the 4-3.
Well, okay, let me answer your questions in the order that you gave them to me. No, I don't think they threw jet sweep out of the playbook because of some vendetta against Matt Canada. They don't run it. They could run it. It's not going to be the answer to all their problems. Defensively, if you went back to the 3-4 right now, your nose tackle just went back to Utah, so I don't know who you would play on the nose right now. Man, I got a hard time believing that this is all schematics. Okay, the understanding of it, execution of it is a massive problem. But it's not like they're the only team in the country that's running the 4-3. And to that end, they're really not running the 4-3. They're in nickel most of the time, as is everybody. The number of plays where they have 3 linebackers on the field where it's not a short yardage, kind of goal line situation, you can probably count on 2 hands. So, and the same thing with Apuaika. I got a hard time believing that there's that big of a difference, him shading the nose or him shading the guard. Are we telling me the guy can't play football if he's got to move over 1.5 feet? I don't believe that. Now, what they're teaching, their understanding of it, the checks with it, the execution of 11 guys playing as one unit, whether they're playing man or they're playing zone, whether they're blitzing, whether they're playing back, that is lost in the translation. Whatever Bo Pelini is teaching them, 4-3, 3-4, nickel, dime, whatever, they're not getting it. They don't understand. They do not know their response. Jordan Tolles is a very good player, okay? Coming out of high school, he's a very highly rated player. A lot of people with LSU's problems that say, where's Jordan Tolles? Jordan Tolles went in the game and I think was in for 1 or 2 snaps before Schwartz went by him like he was standing still. Now, I know Tolles can run. I know him being able to run. Now, Schwartz is a sprinter, but even so, I know that Tolles can run. But he doesn't know where he's supposed to be. And so you look up and there's Stingley, who's going to be a first-round pick in the draft. He's looking back going, where's my help? Same thing that happened 2 weeks ago at Missouri, 3 weeks ago at Missouri. That's your problem much more than schematics, in my opinion. Ed is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ed, welcome into the show.
Hey, I appreciate you taking my call. Just wanted to make 3 quick points. First and foremost, I think after tonight, it was pretty much decided on what quarterback gives LSU the best chance to win moving forward, and that's Miles Brennan. The second point I'm going to make is Ed Orgeron, if he cares about winning and keeping his job moving forward, Bo Pelini and Scott Linehan don't need to be on the staff next year. And the last point I'm going to make is I don't care if you've got a roster full of 5-star players, 4-star players, or 3-star players. What you need is a roster full of players that show they want to play the game of football and give effort. And again, I appreciate your call and have a good evening.
Thank you, Ed. The last part especially. How many times do you question an effort this deep into the season? And it's been pretty much every week, with the exception of maybe last week. Even the Vanderbilt game, you were kind of like, okay, well, that's just a really bad team over on the other side. I can't disagree with that. As far as the coaching staff, if there's not every single one of them going back going, man, what can we do to make this better? And if Ed's not evaluating every single one of them, then shame on him. He's got to look at everybody on that staff, including himself, and say, what are we doing wrong? Because we're simply not this bad. Let me rephrase that. They simply are this bad. They simply shouldn't be this bad. There have been times where I watched LSU play. I was like, oh, man, look, they got outclassed tonight. 1-22, 1-44, 1-85, or whatever their scholarship limit is now. It ain't 85. They are not 37 points worse than Auburn. Of this, I am certain. If for no other reason, and I watched them both play South Carolina with very different results in the last couple of weeks. Now, you can't always do transitive property of football. It doesn't work that way. There's matchups that dictate things. But they ain't this bad. Correct myself. They shouldn't be this bad. 499-9898 is the number to call. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Jani-King, the king of clean.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Auburn wins at 48-11. 499-9898 is the number to call. Mike in Gonzales is next. Mike, welcome into the show.
Hey, man, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, man, I hear some of the other callers call in and say, oh, it's Bo Pelini, it's, this or that, or, it's the scheme. But nothing against Coach O. But, they say, well, LSU, all the fans say, we put more players in the NFL every year. We graduate more players. Well, so does Clemson. So does Alabama. So does, Ohio State. And I get it that the Tigers won the national championship last year. But it just seems to me, and I'm not blaming Pelini, Steve Ensminger, Coach O, this team just seems like they have no fire.
No argument.
I don't know if it's a spinoff of winning the national championship and thinking that you just show up and you're going to win. It's I don't know. Coach O, I respect him. He's got to fix it.
Yeah, Mike, look, listen, there's a lot of things wrong right now. Is it part schematics? Yes. Is it part effort? Yes. Is it part disconnect? Yes. Is it part players that left and coaches that left? Yes. All of those things that meshed last year, everything that fell into place for LSU, none of it has fallen into place this year. None. Your job as coaches is to teach your players what you want them to do and give them the freedom to execute it. And none of that's happening right now. They don't have a clear understanding of this defense. Offensively, they're not getting much push with the line. The offensive line is the one position on the team where I would tell you I think they have a lack of talent. And you've had to play musical quarterbacks here because of injuries through 3 weeks. It worked out last week. It didn't work out today. Wasn't the only reason that they lost. Finley didn't play well, but nobody played well. Cade York had a nice field goal today. That's it. That's your highlights. Jack is in Longview, Texas. Jack, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie, how are you tonight?
All right.
Well, something that I've noticed, and I'm really curious if you agree, to me, the body language, not only of the players, you were talking about effort right before that last break, but the body language of even the staff on the sideline does not even remotely appear the same this year.
No argument.
You totally.
None of this seems real. Okay, if last year didn't, if last year didn't seem real for all of the positive reasons, none of this feels real. They didn't start the season on time. They had guys that left that they didn't think would leave. I mean, besides the guys that left that they knew were leaving, they had guys that left that they didn't think would. And they had to redo the whole schedule, and then you had a game canceled. None of this seems real, but everybody else is dealing with the non-reality of 2020 as well.
Sure.
Go talk to the University of Houston, who had to wait a month to play a game and I think had 5 different openers scheduled at some point. Listen, everybody's dealing with this stuff. But you're absolutely right. You look on that sideline, and there's a whole lot of we don't care. And
it starts at the top.
Yeah?
And it starts at the top.
Yes. No argument. No argument. I'd tell you if I felt differently. I'd tell you, I was like, man, they are trying. There's a lot of nights where they have lost games, and I've come in here to do this show, and I say, man, they are trying as hard as they can. They've just got a talent problem here. They got a schematic problem here. They just, things didn't fall their way. They got a bad call, whatever. I don't think they're trying as hard as they can. I really don't, and I can't remember saying that very often. Okay, I don't feel like they are trying as hard as they can.
And I'm not talking about just the 105. I'm talking about the 135, counting all the coaches.
I can't argue with you, Jack. Because I agree with you. You look at it. You make a very good point. Thank you for the call about body language. You look over there on the sidelines, man, and you just don't see it. You just see like, oh well, they scored. That's too bad. No, man. Jacoby Stevens is a very good example of what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to single out a player, but you remember the game in Mississippi State last year? Kerry Vincent blew a coverage, and Stevens took him to the side and just went up one side of him and down the other. That this was completely unacceptable. That there was not going to be a mistake of that caliber made without you hearing about it, without there being some accountability demanded. I don't see any of that this year. I see guys running all by themselves, and what do? Go back to the sideline, 91 yards. Well, that's too bad. Now you're losing 48-3 instead of 42-3. Like that matters. I don't see it. Same guys, same team, except I don't see any fire. I don't see, man, we're giving it everything we got. But it's just not there. You remember Andrew Hatch? Andrew Hatch was not one of the more talented quarterbacks to come through here, but the kid played hard. He gave it what he had. He was a Harvard transfer. They got in a bad situation with the parallel deal, and Hatch came in here and played. And Hatch was limited, okay? Hatch gave you what he had. And he's not the only one, okay? There's a long list of guys who were the last player in the class. Hester and I do this from time to time on the Daily Show. Guys like Justin Jefferson and Lloyd Cushenberry and Foster Moreau were the last person to come in the class. And you know what they did? They went out there and they busted it, man. Every time they went out there, you were going to get everything they had because they were bound and determined, man, on my watch, no, I'm gonna do what I can for the team and for myself. You know what? All those guys are in the NFL now. I don't see any of that. 499-9898 is the number to call. Dan is in Baton Rouge. Dan, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, Dan.
I had a successful business in this town years ago, and all of a sudden, after 35 years, it wasn't successful anymore. And, you know, there are factors beyond your control. There are things that happen. You're riding high one day, and you're down the dumps the next. And I wonder if perhaps there's a lot of personal things that may have transpired in Coach O's life that may have taken some of the fire out of him. I don't know that, and I don't mean to speak out of turn, but somewhere there was an article in the Advocate a while back. And, you know, sometimes it's a leadership that it doesn't mean to be that way. It just happens beyond a man's control. And when the players decided to all march over to the systems building without telling the coaches, that seemed to be a good thing to do. I'm for them for doing that, but at the same time, they should have notified their boss, and they didn't. Is there a lack of respect? Is there a lack of, I don't know, empathy or whatever is going on there? So this thing is deeper than talent because we have very talented people, and we can't get them together. And I'm not trying to blame a coach or coaches. Do you go to Youngstown State to get your defensive guy when he was fired from Nebraska? Who knows? You know, we can speculate on that all day.
Yeah.
But I just think that I remember Les Miles when his sister was killed in an automobile accident. He seemed to lose some of his fire. And I don't know if Coach O has lost some of his fire. I mean, you're riding high and going into a season you think great, and then all of a sudden it ain't there.
Dan, I appreciate the call. Let me respond to some of this. We got a lot of people waiting. I got the gist of it. Okay, let's say all that's true. Right? Let's say there is a disconnect. Okay, Coach O's had some personal problems in his life. I don't need to go through all of them. I think it's been pretty well documented. Okay, that he went through a divorce. None of that matters to me. His personal life is his personal life. Is it affecting his job performance? I can't speak to that. I don't know. If the players had an axe to grind with the coach because of the march, or because he said he supported the president, or any of a dozen other reasons, okay, they still have themselves to play for. That's what I keep coming back to, and maybe they don't think it through like that. But again, everybody in that locker room is playing for money. There ain't anybody I know in the sport ain't motivated by money. And if you're not motivated by money, you're motivated by pride. I mean, every one of these guys was the best player on the team that they came from to get here. And they've had an enormous amount of success to get to this level. They don't want to go out there and get embarrassed just because they've got some kind of axe to grind with the coach. If they do, then God bless. But I just don't see it. I don't think that. I think there is a genuine lack of communication between what the coaching staff is selling and what the players are doing. But I can't for the life of me understand a player that would go out there and do this on purpose. But everybody is saying, you don't see the effort, you don't see the drive, you don't see the leadership. I can't argue with any of that because I see the same things that you see. How to fix it is a whole different kettle of fish. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of your phone calls. Auburn wins at 48-11. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Hey, Hey, football fans, T-Bomb here, reminding you that Hooters is your headquarters for football. If you can't get in, they still got the Hooters girls, the TVs, the wings, the beer, everything you love about game day. But what if you're watching at your house? Maybe having some people over. You don't feel like cooking? Well, great. Hooters, they have your back. You download the Hooters app. You'll get a free app, and then you go and you pick up the food. You bring it home. Everybody loves you because you got Hooters wings and game day. It's a match made in heaven. Download the app. Get Hooters to go. Hooters, your headquarters for football.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station. One Nation.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day. Auburn wins at 48-11. Back to the phone lines, 499-9898. Mike is in Metairie. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, Charlie. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
People have been opining about where the blame lies for all of this, whether it's the players or the effort or certain assistant coaches. I think it all has to fall on Ed Orgeron. And I understand that 2019 was a historic year, so he absolutely has gets the benefit of the doubt and the ability to try to right the ship. But we're in year 4 now. With very few exceptions, these are all of his recruits, and these are all of his coaches. And with 2019 in mind, we also need to look at, in 2017, we had a historic loss to Mississippi State. We had a historic loss to Troy. And this year, we've seen 3 historically bad losses. And I think it's time to question whether or not the model that LSU has with Ed Orgeron as sort of a CEO who relies upon his coordinators will be able, whether or not that is set up for sustained success in the long run. So I'd like to take your reaction and also ask you a question as somebody whose knowledge of LSU goes back much longer than mine. Is this the worst team since the Curly Holman era? I'll take your action. Thank you.
Okay, so my thing is I don't want to make too many bold, brash, far-sweeping determinations about the program based on things that happened in 2020 because this is a unique year for everybody. They've handled it way worse than I thought. But I don't want to make this, pronounced decision about the long-term viability of the program based on something that happened this year, at least until it's over and I can kind of do an evaluation. I think Ed Orgeron can succeed here. I've seen it happen. This particular imitation of LSU is not good, obviously. Is this the worst team that they have had since Curly Holman? It is very comparable with the my best comp right now is the 99 team, because the 1999 team had a lot of players on it that would end up the following year on a winning team, and 2 years later would win a conference championship. And a lot of the guys that were on that team in 99 were talented enough, and they quit on the coach. I'm not saying that this group has quit on the coach yet, but there's a disconnect. There's something is not getting through. So the Curly years, they had a lack of talent. They didn't have enough. They didn't have enough Jimmies and Joes. I don't believe that this team of Jimmies and Joes is 37 points worse than Auburn's. In fact, I know it's not. All evidence to the contrary, it's just not. So your question to me is, what does this compare most to? I would tell you the 99 team that went 3-8, and as soon as, and I liked Jerry DiNardo personally. I thought he did a lot of good things here. I think he's been lumped in with Curly Holman way too many times, and he was 10 times the coach that Curly was on his worst day. But he lost the team that year. Lou Tepper lost the team for him, and they quit. They had a quarterback controversy. They had a bad defensive coordinator, and they just quit. And as soon as he left, they played the final game against Arkansas, and they blew Arkansas clear out of Tiger Stadium because the disconnect that they had with the coach was gone. And they went out and they played free and they had fun. And I remember Hal Hunter was the interim coach. And they said, well, how does your role change this week? He goes, I got to pick the movie. So what'd you pick? He said, we went to see James Bond. Sean Connery passed away today. That's why I remember that story. But that team had way more talent than 3 and 8. And this team's got way more talent than 2 and 3. And they're lucky to have 2. David in New Orleans is next. David, welcome into the show.
How's it going? How are you doing today?
All right.
I wanted to call it. I wanted to just get everybody to kind of just pump their brakes on Coach O, because here's the thing I want everybody to really look at. Coming into this year, when you were looking at this LSU team, you were worried about if this offense was going to go back to the Les Miles era. That's what you were worried about, and they didn't. Miles Brennan has thrown for more yards than any other LSU quarterback in his first 3 games, okay? This offense is good enough. When you look at the scheme, what Bo Pelini is running, he doesn't have the players that he needs to run this game at defensive tackle, at middle linebacker, and then, at the safety in the corner. I mean, Joseph Evans, bless his heart, but he's just a guy. Damone Clark, just a guy. Allie Gay, even though he transferred, he's just a guy. And my thing is this also as well. When you look at this season, let's just be real. LSU has had a bunch of unfortunate breaks. They have not been able to catch a break since the national championship. And everybody's talking about, well, Nick Saban doesn't, have to go through this when he loses. Well, I've never seen a Nick Saban team lose the next 3, the best players on his team for the next year with opt-outs, because that never happened. You know what I mean? It never happened.
David, I appreciate the call. Thank you for calling. I got the gist of it. Let me respond to that. I disagree with everything you said. First of all, they did catch a break. When they went to the scheduling model, they got Vanderbilt in Missouri, and they got Vanderbilt on the road and what should have been Missouri at home. So they have caught a break. I don't buy that they don't have enough personnel to run that defensive scheme better than what they're running it. Now, do they have perfect scheme? Do they have perfect personnel? No. But Damone Clark was the guy that they thought enough of to put 18 on him. He's playing terrible. I'm sorry, he just is. Glenn Logan is playing inside. Neil Farrell is playing inside. Those guys were rotational players for LSU. Logan was a starter. Farrell was a rotational player. Allie Gay is going to get drafted. A month ago, I thought he was going to get drafted high, but he has disappeared since then. No, Eli Ricks on the outside has got 3 interceptions. He was the number 1 player, defensive player in California. No, I don't buy the fact that they don't have the personnel to run a 4-3 defense, which again is really a nickel. I will tell you that I agree with. I said I disagree with everything. Not quite. I do agree with the part about Coach O gets he gets a break here. It's what I refer to as political capital. Okay, coming up on an election on Tuesday, when a politician goes into office, they're given some leeway. Okay, they're given some. Hey, let's see how this works. Let's see. And the more good things you do, the more political capital you build yourself for when things go wrong. Coach O has a lot of political capital built up. 2019 is about the biggest political capital building year that you can have. He's not getting fired. He's not going to be forced to make any staff changes that he doesn't want to. That's all going to be on him. And then you throw in the COVID budget, things, and that leads me to believe even more that he's going to be able to write his own ticket in his offseason, and they're going to give him a chance to fix it. But he hasn't done a good job this year. He just hasn't. I understand he's had a lot of obstacles. I understand a lot of these things were out of his control. But no, he's done a poor job. And really, as a staff, they've done a poor job. They are better than this. Pat is in Baton Rouge. Pat, welcome into the show.
Charlie, what's going on, bud?
How you doing, Pat?
I'm doing all right, man. Look, I apologize if I'm touching on something you already spoke about, but I just got to finish trick-or-treating. I don't know what to make of. I don't know what to make with my little nephew, of course. I don't know what to make of it. I hear you say it's not the personnel, and then I hear the other caller say we got the talent. You are what your record is. We're 2-3, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm young enough. All I remember is Nick Saban era, era and on. So I don't know what to think. Like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, maybe we're just not that good. Like, the players, they are talented, but maybe they're not SEC talented. I don't know what to think. I'm just looking for something, Charlie. It's just frustrating.
Okay. All right. I think there's one area of the team where I'm not sure that they've got all SEC personnel, and that's on the offensive line. I think they have SEC personnel everywhere else. I think they are short on the offense. I know they're short on the offensive line. I think they're short in the starting lineup, and I know they're short in the two deeps. They've got some kids that they think are going to be good down the line, but it's a position where you kind of got to develop most of the time. Everywhere else, they have better, in my opinion, they have better talent than they have shown. There is not your coaches are expected to develop the talent to where they can play at their highest level. They're not doing that. And so is that on the players, on the coach? Well, it's gonna always fall to the coaches. Nobody is ever going to say, well, that kid just well, I shouldn't say that, never. But there's not that many kids that I look out there and I go, man, that kid just can't play. I mean, there have been times in the past that kid just can't play. I don't see that. I see guys that can run, but they're flat-footed because they don't know where they're supposed to be. I see guys that are big enough getting pushed around. I see guys that are strong enough making bad throws or dropping passes or committing penalties or just making foolish plays. I believe that the talent level on this team is greater than their record, but you're correct when you say you are what your record says you are. They're 2-3, and that ain't good. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hey, last year we thought we had Ursula Andress, and this year we have Margaret Hamilton.
Oh, Dr. No reference there. Okay. First James Bond movie. Okay.
In honor of the only James Bond.
Connery was great.
For the guy who only remembers 2000 on, 55 through 99, you didn't miss a whole lot. Anyway, if Brady doesn't show up last year, I believe we probably have another 9-3, 10-2 season with Burrow running the same offense O ran his first and second year. And going off of that to this year, things aren't moving in a positive light. Because I don't believe O was the one to initiate talks with Brady. Do you know who was the first guy at LSU that talked to Brady?
Brady came in for a coaching clinic, and he blew him away. There were multiple guys off the LSU staff that were in there, as I understand the story, that were in the room when Brady gave his presentation, and they all came off extremely impressed, and that's why Ed made him the offer. Who saw him first, I can't speak to, but my understanding is that there were multiple people off the LSU staff in that room when he gave his presentation.
Well, he certainly made a difference, but that's the least of their problems right now. I'm with you. It's all of the reasons why things are what they are, but still, after all of that, today is unacceptable. You don't expect that from a top 10 program, which I think LSU is right now. But those kind of performances will get a coach fired sooner rather than later, in spite of the political capital. So anyway, Billy said it's a blue full moon.
Yeah, that means the second full moon of the month. I learned something.
Once in a blue moon,
yeah,
Halloween.
Okay. Well,
all right, Charles.
Thank you, Jules.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it. All I know is that the blue moon is the second one, but I'm going to tell you, I drove in. It was kind of an ominous scene, man. I was driving in from I went home to watch the game, so I'm driving in, and I'm coming in right in front of Tiger Stadium. Okay, I have to cross Tiger Stadium to get to the studio, and it is a full moon, and maybe it was just me. It was orange, dude. It was as close to orange as you can get. Andrew is in LaPlace. Andrew, welcome into the show.
Thank you, Charlie. First off, I got to tell you, I'm I'm 32 years old, and you have been the voice of my post-game shows for as long as I can remember. So thank you for that.
No, thank you.
My thing is, man, watching the defense, we don't attack. We read and we wait, and by the time the play has developed, it's 5 yards down the field. We don't attack. I'd rather attack and miss a tackle, but
That was supposed to be, Andrew. That was supposed to be what this defense was about. It was supposed to be about attacking. It was supposed to be about putting more pressure on the quarterback. That hasn't happened. Why that hasn't happened is a question that we're all struggling with right now. The whole idea was that they would be able to play faster in this defense, that it would be more to Ed Orgeron's comfort level to be able to have 4 defensive linemen and be able to put more pressure on the quarterback. I agree with you. They are waiting. It's not a read and react defense, but it's become that because they don't understand their assignments. Why don't they understand their assignments? Your guess is as good as mine, but I can tell you that falls to the defensive coordinator. I don't know whose fault it is, but I certainly know who's going to get blamed, and that's Bo Pelini. They brought him in with $2 million a year, which in not even in hindsight, a lot of people at the time said, wait, who else is going to pay this guy over $2 million? It's not like there was offers being, beat down his door. So they said, you overpaid him. Okay. But if he comes in and they've got a top 5 defense, if they were playing defense the way, say, Georgia was, then you would say, well, okay, he's worth the money. He's done a poor job. He is not getting his point across to this defense. They don't understand what he wants them to do. I don't know why. Back in 2005, when Bo Pelini came in here as a first-year defensive coordinator, they went out to Arizona State, and a kid named Sam Keller lit them up. It was the night of Sam Keller's life. Keller went on to a pretty nondescript career after that. But that one night, that was the Katrina game, he looked like Brett Favre. Why? Because LSU didn't understand what Bo Pelini wanted, okay? They were playing mostly zone, and they had played almost nothing but man when Saban was here. And so, as my good friend and partner on the radio at the time, Gordy Rush, said, he's speaking Spanish and they're speaking French. And right now, I don't know what language either one of them are speaking. All I know is they don't understand it. So you say simplify. That's been the buzzword for the last 3 weeks. They're going to simplify. They're going to simplify. Well, I don't know how much more you can simplify it because they still don't get it. So I'm going to go Miyagi on you. No such thing as bad student, only bad teacher. I think the kids want to play, but who knows? Are they playing slow because they don't understand the scheme? I think that's part of it. They're playing slow because they're just not into it. I think there's a little bit of truth to that, too. We'll take a break. 499-9898 is the number to call. Auburn wins at 48-11. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into front-to-back boat services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front-to-back boat services.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Got to find things to laugh about here during the break because it wasn't a good day on the football field. 48-11. Auburn wins it. We go back to the phone lines, 499-9898. Trevor is in Pierre Park. Trevor, welcome into the show.
Charles, man, I listen to you every day. I respect your opinions more
Thank you for
than
listening.
anybody else.
Thank you.
Okay, no, my question was, last week everybody said, okay, keep Brennan out, leave TJ in, leave TJ in. Do you think if Brennan would have been healthy and would have been in, and we wouldn't have had the 2 interceptions that led to a short field and a fumble return for a touchdown and been able to keep possession longer by moving the ball, do you think it would have been a very different game with a chance of winning, or you think it would have ended up the same?
No, I don't think. I think they would have lost. I don't think that the margin would have been as great. And I'll point to one statistic that didn't have anything to do with the quarterback. I don't think it had anything to do with the quarterbacks. Is my reasoning why. LSU ran for 1.2 yards a carry tonight. They ran the ball 27 times for 32 yards. If you're faced with that, then I don't know what you do as a quarterback. Now, could I have counted on Brennan not to turn the ball over 3 times, one of which produced a touchdown on its own, and another one which produced a short field for point-blank range score? Yeah, I can say that. I think that I trust a fourth-year guy more than a first-year guy. So I don't think they lose by 37. But running the football like that, I don't think that they win. If you erase the 3 turnovers, I think they lose this game 28-11 instead of 48-11. Wesley is in Laplace. Welcome into the show.
Hi, yeah, Charlie. I'm just wondering why are we not feeding the freak of our tight end 7 to 10 targets a game? I'm just gonna let's just hear about that.
Gilbert, okay. So Gilbert caught 6 balls for 55 yards. He caught some of those catches came after the issue had long since been decided. I think that they are running things for him. Like you watch the beginning of the Missouri game, and there are instances where it looks like they have a matchup problem on Marshall. They have a matchup problem on Gilbert, and they couldn't run the ball anyway. So they really started to feed them. Why they didn't do more of that today, who can say? Maybe there were times where they were running things for him where he was covered. Maybe there were times where they were running things for him and the quarterback didn't see him or made a bad throw. 6 catches for a tight end. Look, man, we went months at times without the tight end catching 6 balls, so I don't want to complain too much. But I got to look at an end zone view. I got to look at an all 11 before I can tell you that he was running free and the quarterback didn't see him, or he was running with double coverage. I can't. It'll be a question that'll be easier to answer once we see the game again, and especially once Jake and Gordy and those guys can go look at the all 11 and kind of give us a better understanding of that. Chris is in Lafayette. Chris, welcome into the show.
Hey, how you doing, Irene?
Good, Chris.
I think after the season we had last year, we expected with all the new recruits, with Arzaro telling us, well, this defense is going to be better than last year. All we expected probably was not another championship team, but a competitive team, a team that would not be embarrassing to watch like it was today, like it's been in the 2 previous losses. To put your finger on it, you can't. The fact is that you're recruiting terrific players. You're getting guys that can get on the problem is in the coaching staff. These guys are getting paid big bucks. They shouldn't show up for their checks this week. That's how bad it was, because you look like a team that, a scrub game that you play in the beginning of the year, a Ball State or somebody else. That's what LSU looks like.
I don't disagree, Chris. And listen, here's you say the thing you put your finger on. My thing is there's not one thing that you can put your finger on. I wish there was. I started the show out by saying, what do you have that's working? And I'm not talking about individual players where you can just say, well, Terrace Marshall is working, or Derek Stingley is working, or Eric Gilbert is working. I'm talking about one aspect of this team that is playing at a high level. Their run offense, their run defense, their pass offense, their pass defense. None of them are operating at a high level. And that's widespread. That's not one thing. I wish you could just, you blame the quarterback. Oh, well, the quarterback went out and threw, 4 interceptions. Well, just change the quarterback. Well, the running back went out and he wouldn't follow his blocks, or he fumbled twice. We'll change the running back. They've done all that. It's not really their problem. Defensively, well, they got a guy who can't tackle. He's too slow. Well, they've made changes. Can't rush the passer. What's the problem? Well, they're rotating guys. Bust in the coverage. Change the corner. Change the safety. Well, they've done that. This is a team-wide breakdown of every basic unit that they got. I mean, this is deep. You know what? I mean, this is bad. I can't rationalize this. It ain't my job to sugarcoat anything anyway, and I ain't gonna do it. But if you're asking me, man, look, what is the silver lining? What is the good thing? Well, I told you at the top of the show, there ain't one. I've been in this racket for almost 30 years. Usually I can come in and tell you, well, listen, they got to work on this. They got to work on this. They got to write that. No, the whole thing, real bad. And I don't have any easy answers for you. I can't tell you change this personnel. You're 5 weeks deep into a 10-game season. You're going to overhaul schematics in the off week? Tell me you're going to simplify it? No. I mean, this is bad. It's really bad. Ben in Baton Rouge is next. Ben, welcome into the show. Ben? Ben's gone. Let's see. Stanford is in Baton Rouge. Stanford, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie. How are you, my man?
All right, Stanford.
So I'll just start by saying that I haven't seen LSU quit since won 9-12 the way they did tonight, it's very disappointing. And I'm a pretty good donor. And you know that LSU is in an $80 million deficit, right, this year.
Read
I want you to give me a silver lining and tell me why I'm a pretty good TAF donor, why I should continue to give after that effort tonight. Give me a rainbow. Come on, Charles. Help me out.
All right. Here's what I would give you. And I said this after the Missouri game. I've said this after a couple of Auburn games where it looked like they might lose. I think that this season is a 4-alarm dumpster fire. But I do think there can be a very quick turnaround. Why does seasons spiral out of control? They spiral out of control sometimes because you don't have enough talent. That's not, in my opinion, the problem here. You spiral out of control because you have a disconnect with a coach. All right, maybe that's a problem. That's something they're going to have to do a long, hard look at. But that's also pretty easily fixable. It may not be cheap, but it's easily fixable. When LSU was trying to turn things around in 1994, they had been stuck with 6 years of losing, and we looked at it, and it's like, man, look, they can change things, and they can get better, and they did. But we've referenced this game before, the earlier tonight when we were talking about historic losses, that 96 loss at Florida. That LSU team won 10 games. That LSU team, it was their second winning season in a row after they'd had 6 losing seasons in a row. In other words, the rebuild was drastic. That they could get. Jared Inoto said something to me that I'll never forget, and it was as true then as it is today. He said it's easier to go from 3 or 4 wins to 8 or 9 wins than it is to go from 9 wins to 11 wins. Back then you played 11 games. And that was the truth, because that good LSU team went to Gainesville and got destroyed. Not because they were a bad team, but because Florida was a great team. So the difference between them and the elite was great, but they were pretty good everywhere else. That's not the issue this time. They're not, from a talent standpoint, eons away from competing. They're not. But there's something wrong between the team and the coaching staff that I got a hard time believing they're going to be able to fix in a bye week. And, oh, by the way, Bama's coming in here pissed off in 2 weeks. You think Saban ain't going to play that locker room video of Roll Tide, bleep you? That thing's going to be on a loop. You think that game ain't going to be on that locker room? That thing's going to be on a loop. They're going to come in here with a bad attitude in 2 weeks and kick LSU's ass up and down that field. I'm here to tell you. Now, the reason I think you should continue to give to the program is because I think this is an easier fix than what it looks like on the field. There's enough talent. You've got plenty of good coaches on that staff. Right now, the message isn't getting across, but I think you can fix that. You brought Joe Brady in, and you had the top offense in the history of college football. Well, great. You got to go find the next Joe Brady for offense and defense, and you got to make some staff adjustments. They do every year. I'm not saying anything like, oh, go fire this guy. They don't ever have the same staff from one year to the next. So next year's staff has got to get it right. This year's staff didn't. Again, I don't know why, but they didn't. So that's why you should continue, because this is fixable in an off season. I'm not going to take 3 off seasons. It's fixable in 1 off season. I don't think that it's fixable inside of this season. Shane is in Shreveport. Shane, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie, how's it going?
Good, Shane.
Hey, man, I was just wondering, what do you think about like our total inability to even try and establish a run game?
I think the offensive line is deficient.
It's that?
Yes, that is my opinion. I think those running backs are talented guys. I know John Emery is a talented guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that Ty Davis-Price is a very good back. I think Chris Curry is a competent back. I think that if there's one place on this team that I would tell you that they have a talent deficiency, it would be the offensive line.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
I mean, nothing against the young man, Shane, but they were so desperate to go out and add to the offensive line that they went and got a guy from Harvard. Okay, nothing against Shanahan. He's trying real hard, but he's a below-average SEC center through 5 games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that Chasen Hines has played below average in his 5 games. And I think that Cam Wire is got a lot of potential, and I think he's played good and he's played bad, and I think that he will come along, and I think he'll be fine. Deculus is fine, and Ingram's their best player, but they do not. When you tell me that Charles Turner is the number 1 backup at all 5 positions, I tell you don't have enough depth. And it's nothing against Turner, but they shouldn't have 6 offensive linemen that they can count on. So I would tell you, you're asking me about the running game. I would give you the offensive line.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Cool deal.
Appreciate the call. Thank you for listening. Bradley in Baton Rouge is next. Bradley, welcome into the show.
Thanks, Andy. We bring in this $2 million coordinator. We have all these great recruiting classes, and then we take our lumps this week, and now we have no hope next week or in our next game in 2 weeks against Alabama. When's the last time we had absolutely no hope? Alabama can name their score against us, and they'll have all the motivation to do it, but my God, they'll have all the ability to do it. There's no reason to believe that we won't just concede and put up a white flag in the second quarter of the game.
1992, to answer your question. Alabama won the national championship, and LSU was still being coached by Curly Holman.
Okay, so almost 32 years.
28, but yeah.
28 years. I mean, even in 2017, it felt rough, but we were maybe a quarterback away or a strong arm away from being more competitive.
If you're waiting for me to tell you something to make you feel better, I got nothing.
I
got nothing. I can't spin this, man. I'm not trying to spin it. It's not what I do on the post game, but I got nothing. I mean, I can tell you why you should believe in the program. I can tell you why there's hope for the future. I can tell you why I think today is not what the norm should be. But if you're calling me to say, why should I feel better about the game against Alabama in 2 weeks? I got nothing. And listen, sports are unpredictable, right? Okay, Chaminade beat Virginia one time. But if you're asking me to give you a path to victory or a path to feel better about the game in 2 weeks, I got nothing.
Oh, no, it's a foregone conclusion. But I wasn't calling for a counselor. I just had to get it off my chest. I appreciate it.
Hey, Bradley, that's what I'm here for, man. Thank you very much. Robert is in Mesquite, Nevada. Robert, welcome into the show.
How you doing, Annie?
Good. Such as it is.
Just have a few observations. If you go back to 2018, Alabama comes to Tiger Stadium. Joe Burrow's our quarterback. We have pretty much the same group of guys on offense. And Steve Ensminger basically can come up with no points and about 140 yards. And you can go back the year before that. And quite frankly, since until Joe Brady came for 1 year, this guy has, and this is going on when guys like Hugh Freeze and Gus Malzahn are always coming up with innovative ways to come up with lots of points and lots of yardage against Alabama. And I'm using Alabama as a measuring stick here. You can see that, in my opinion, Steve Ensminger, I hate what happened to him last year, but, this guy is not cutting it as offensive coordinator.
I think it's easy. I think it's easy to blame Steve, but I also think it's a little bit short-sighted. That offensive line doesn't give you as many options as you should have. It really doesn't. And I can't blame Steve for the number of drops. Okay, what I judge Steve on is how he calls the game. I didn't think that he called a terrible game today because I don't know what you run when you can't run the football at all. Now, somebody earlier said, throwing a jet sweep. Okay, maybe I can nitpick. I can tell you that maybe you can try a different formation or something like that. But when the offensive line gets handled like they did today, and it's not a stellar Auburn defensive line, it's not the defensive line that they had a year ago, then I'm not without sympathy for the offensive coordinator when he's got one hand tied behind his back. Now, could Steve have done a better job today? Yes, they all could have. But I don't think schematics is where the problem lies. I could be wrong. Okay, let me see a little bit more, but I don't think that the offensive schematics are the biggest problem for this team. In fact, I don't think it makes the top 3. But could he have tried something different? Sure.
I look at James Craig. I thought he did an outstanding job with the group that he had last year, offensive line coach. They didn't have a lot of 5-star guys like Alabama gets every year, but maybe he's one of these coaches that can really coach very well. But when it comes to the recruiting department, especially with all the exposure and the success that LSU's had, we should be getting 5 stars across the board or high.
They need more linemen. They need more offensive linemen. I'm not going to argue with that. Robert, thanks for listening out in Nevada. Steve is in Baton Rouge. Steve, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie, I got the solution to the problem.
Oh, well, I'm all ears.
Well, it's time that Steve Ensminger goes home to Winsboro. Ask him to stop in Sicily Island and bring that Notre Dame box back down here to LSU.
How do you know about the Notre Dame box?
You and I talked about it. Joe Raymond Peace and Albert. And Albert Krause. We talked about it one night out at LaBerge. My wife's from Sicily Island.
Okay.
And you told me about going up there and playing in your
I did
high school final, and so
yeah.
I couldn't help but think about that while we were griping tonight.
Hey, Steve, thanks for the call, man. That's terrific. Yeah, the last year I played high school football, we played against Sicily Island in Sicily Island, and they ran the Notre Dame box, which does not have a quarterback. They just snapped the ball directly to one of the backs, and they have a blocking back right behind the center, just kind of offset to the guard. And they didn't care so much if you knew where they were running the ball because they had an extra blocker at the point of attack. All you had to do was follow the blocking back, and you knew where the ball was going. But they had a numbers advantage at almost every time. And let me tell you something. Those cats could hit. Okay,
Is it similar to the Wildcat, kind of?
No, because there's 4 backs in the backfield.
Oh, okay.
There's 4, the blocking back, and then they could line the other 3 guys up in multiple different, formations. They could stack them. They could put them side by side. They could run a straight T. And they did all those things. But the ball followed. They did not have very many counters off of what they ran with the blocking back. They were content to let you know where they were running the football. They were going to run behind that blocking back, who was a bad dude. And he would come in there, and he'd lay a lick, and they just felt like they had you outnumbered at the point of attack. It's an antiquated scheme. Obviously, that's better than 30 years ago, and that was high school football. But thank you for your suggestion. Hey, listen, we ain't closing a suggestion box these days because Lord knows something might click. Take a break, and we'll come back here. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
This is it, what smart customers wait for all year. The Richards Honda Trade-In, Trade-Up event. Right now, get more money for your trade and a great price on something new. That's a win-win. Only at richardshonda.com. The smart choice.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Highlander for $4,500 off MSRP. That's right, $4,500 off MSRP. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
From the makers of Blue Moon comes Light Sky. An extraordinary citrus sweet brewed with real tangerine peel, only 95 calories. Welcome to the light side of the moon.
At GMFS Mortgage, thanks to you, we've been changing lives for over 21 years. So far this year, that includes providing thousands of meals for the homeless, donating and helping raise $125,000 for the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, feeding hundreds of police officers during the stay-at-home order, and feeding local nursing homes. So if you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, choose a local lender that's changing lives in our community. Choose GMFS Mortgage today.
GMFS, changing lives.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it. After like the day of my first batch of brewing, I was already thinking, can I do this for a living?
Oh yeah, obsessed with it. He was totally consumed by it, and then looked at me one day and told me I was put on this earth to brew beer. And I was like, wow, that is such a bold statement. And if you can say that about anything, then you need to follow your dream and do it.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
Upgrading your ride is as easy as RichardsHonda.com during the Trade-In, Trade-Up event. It's a once-a-year event with great prices on every vehicle in stock. So trade up today.
Dealer. Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat check.
All right, this ain't for the meek at heart, okay? Auburn wins at 48-11. First downs, 23-20 in favor of Auburn. Total yards, 506 for Auburn, 347 for LSU. Rushing yards, 44 carries for Auburn, 206 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. And this is, you could stop right here. 27 carries for 32 yards. We're kind of done talking at that point. Passing yards, Auburn, 18 of 26 for 300 yards, even. That was all Knicks. LSU, two quarterbacks combined, 28 for 48, 315 yards. LSU's quarterbacks threw two interceptions, both of those by T.J. Finley. LSU turned the ball over 3 times. Auburn turned it over once. Time of possession, 28-31 for LSU, 31-29 for Auburn. And penalties, very clean game over at Auburn. Two for 25 for LSU, 3 for 13 for Auburn. That's pretty much the end of the good news. Okay, here, individual statistics. Nix, I told you all of that was Nix. Loy actually threw 2 passes that were both incomplete. Nix was 18 of 24, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 12.5 yard average per attempt, and he was not sacked. Max Johnson, 15 of 24, $172 and a touchdown. T.J. Finley, 13 of 24, $143 and 2 interceptions. Rushing, John Emery led LSU with 9 carries for 21 yards. Again, you could pretty much quit right there. Nobody else had more than 8 yards rushing for LSU today. Auburn had Bo Nix run for 81 yards on 11 carries, 7.4 yard average and a touchdown. Tank Bigsby, 15 carries, 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eli Stove had 3 carries for 21 yards. You get outrushed 206-32 in the Southeastern Conference, you're gonna get drummed. LSU receiving, Eric Gilbert 6 catches for 55 yards, Racey McMath 5 for 51, Kayshawn Booty 2 for 48, Jerry Jenkins 2 for 30. He had a nice move on that one run, one of the highlights. Terrace Marshall 4 catches for 28 yards today. For Auburn, Anthony Schwartz 4 catches, 123 yards and a touchdown. Seth Williams 4 catches for 71 yards. Eli Stove 5 catches for 64 yards. Top tacklers for LSU was Micah Baskerville, 10 total, 6 solo. He had 1 tackle for loss. It was Zacoby McClain, 9 for Auburn with 2 solos, and he had half of a tackle for loss. Auburn sacked LSU quarterbacks 4 times today. LSU defense sacked Auburn quarterbacks 0 times today. And the punting, Zach Von Rosenberg, 7 punts. He averaged 48.9 yards per punt. He had 2 of the 7 to go inside the 20-yard line. 2 Auburn punters punted 5 times for a 41.6 yards per average. I think I may have my game ball here because that's pretty much all I got. So that's your stat check. We're coming back. Scoreboard, Eagle 98.1 game day.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean.
Eagle 98.1. The First South Farm Credit College Football Scoreboard. First South Farm Credit. Financing farms and land since 1916.
All right, we start with games in progress. Alabama finishing off Mississippi State 34-0. About 6 minutes to go in that one. Mac Jones threw 4 touchdown passes. Najee Harris 119 yards on the ground, and Devontae Smith caught all 4 touchdown passes from Mac Jones today in an 11-catch, 203-yard performance. San Jose State leads New Mexico 31-21. It's Duke over Charlotte, 46-19. Both of those are fourth quarter scores. Ohio State has just kicked a field goal a minute to go in the third quarter. Buckeyes lead Penn State 31-13. Just so depressing, man, to look at the overhead shots of Beaver Stadium and see nobody there. This is supposed to be the whiteout game, man. Just depressing. Texas A&M leads Arkansas 42-17. About a minute to go in the third. In that one, Kellen Mond has thrown 3 touchdown passes for the Aggies. Number 10, Florida leads Mizzou 27-7. I think Mizzou's touchdown was on a punt return, so they have done a real good job at shutting down Connor Bazelak and the offense for Missouri. Kyle Trask has thrown a couple of touchdown passes and run for 47 yards. He's Florida's leading rusher in this game.
Pick 6 for Mizzou.
It's a pick six. Okay, yeah. Number 22, SMU leads Navy 51-17. That's early in the fourth quarter. Early in the third quarter, Virginia leading number 15, North Carolina, 34-20. Halftime score, Oklahoma leads Texas Tech 48-14. Spencer Rattler has thrown a couple of touchdown passes for the Sooners. Just starting the second half, UL Lafayette leads Texas State 34-21. Game just underway. San Diego State leads Utah State 7-0. That is early in the first quarter. Earlier finals today. Number 1 Clemson survived a scare with Boston College. They trail this game 28-13 at the half. Hang on. Got to get my pad here because I can say the name if I'm looking at it, but I can't say the name unless DJ Uiagalelei threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. He wasn't the problem. Clemson's defense really struggled against Boston College in the first half, but they threw a shutout in the second half. Travis Etienne ran for 84 yards and a score, and Clemson escapes 34-28. Post-game, Dabo Swinney says Trevor Lawrence will not play against Notre Dame next week. Speaking of Notre Dame, they were a 31-13 winner over Georgia Tech today. Number 5, Georgia, game in the mud up at Kentucky. They win it 14-3. Stetson Bennett threw a couple of interceptions, but Georgia was able to hold off the Wildcats. In overtime, wild game in Stillwater. Texas beats Oklahoma State 41-34. Spencer Sanders threw for 4 touchdowns for Oklahoma State, but the Cowboys turned the ball over 4 times and had a drive in the fourth quarter. Texas was punting on 4th and 26. Oklahoma State roughs the punter. They get the first down there. They convert on 2 other 4th downs on the go-ahead drive. Oklahoma State tied it on the last play of regulation, but Texas gets the win in overtime. Give it to Tom Herman. He gets it done as an underdog. Every time they're a favorite, they throw up on themselves. But Oklahoma State was the last unbeaten in the Big 12. Musa, you brought up something to me that I hadn't considered. You said A&M's the happiest team in the world about that. And I said, why not Georgia? And you said
A&M can go 9-1. Their only loss in Tuscaloosa, 9-1 A&M. Get over 2-loss Georgia.
Never occurred to me that A&M could go 9-1.
That schedule is meat.
You're right. I got to give you credit. It never crossed my mind. Number 7, Cincinnati beat Memphis 49-10. Michigan State, a week after losing to Rutgers, pulls the upset at the Big House. They beat number 13 Michigan 27-24. Rocky Lombardi threw for 323 yards and 3 touchdowns for Sparty. West Virginia beat number 16 Kansas State 37-10. Really dominating performance for West Virginia today. Kansas State without their starting quarterback today. The backup, Will Howard, threw 3 interceptions, including a pick 6. It was number 17, Indiana over Rutgers, 37-21. Coastal Carolina over Georgia State, 51-0. Coastal Carolina ranked 20th in the nation. Number 23, Iowa State beat Kansas 52-22. Number 25, Boise State over Air Force, 49-30. Florida Atlantic beat Texas San Antonio 24-3. It was Tulane over Temple 38-3. Temple playing without their starting quarterback today. Purdue beat Illinois 31-24. It was Wake Forest over Syracuse 38-14. UCF beat Houston 44-21. Rice over Southern Miss 30-6. Southern Miss on their 3rd head coach this season. Troy beat Arkansas State 38-10. It was Louisiana Tech over UAB 37-34. That one went 2 overtimes. TCU beat Baylor 33-23, drops Dave Aranda's team to 1-3. Northwestern by a single point over Iowa, 21-20. They fell in a 17-0 hole in the first quarter, thanks in large part to 2 turnovers, but the Wildcats come back and get the 1-point win. Ole Miss took out their frustrations to head this one over Vanderbilt, 54-21. Matt Corral threw 6 touchdown passes for the Rebels. Appalachian State beat UL Monroe 31-13. It was Virginia Tech over Louisville 42-35. Couple of late games getting ready to start. Western Kentucky's at a number 11 BYU, and Nevada is at UNLV. And that is your college football scoreboard.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game Balls. Game Balls. Game Balls. Presented by Snap Fitness. Snap Fitness. Get fitter faster at snapfitness.com.
Nope. What's next? I ain't giving out any game balls for that.
We don't have
Von
another
Rosenberg,
segment.
if you want. I mean, I'll play the sounder. You know, I want to say thank you to the sponsor, but nope, not today. LSU loses 48-11. Man, it's gonna be a long trip back, and it's gonna be a long film session for the guys when they get back. I'm gonna figure out something. Alabama coming to town in 2 weeks. All right, here's the schedule. There is no extended version of our daily show, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, on Monday because there's no press conference. There's no press conference because of any other reason. It's the off week. They never have a press conference during the off week, so don't read anything into that. Coach O show on Wednesday night from TJ Ribbs. There is no Tiger Zone on Wednesday night. We are off next week and then back for the Bama game 5 hours prior to kickoff. For Musso and Danny, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good evening. Today sucked, but have a nice evening. This has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it.